Hey everybody, what's going on? Baru and Gothalion here again to bring you a little bit of a dual commentary, going over our experience with the first boss that we got to fight in the pre-sequel demo, and this is going to be the Bosun fight.
We were the only ones to kill him on the show floor.
Yeah, we were, apparently we were the only ones able to kill him on the show floor, but that's mostly because, people, messed around. They didn't just try and go for the boss.
Yeah, it's fun to mess around. Basically, you had 15 minutes. I think the fastest we had was 10 minutes to kill the boss. So it's not really saying much. Still pretty cool. The Bosun fight. So how did you feel about, let's start off with how beefy he felt. Did he feel beefy enough to you for a mini-boss?
I mean, you gotta consider, I looked through the missions. This guy's basically going to be the very first boss you ever fight. He felt like he was earlier on than Wilhelm was, so he's not going to be a difficult boss fight. But for how early on he is, he does have a couple of things. But there's one thing that I really want to note here, and that's that even though during our gameplay we were just kind of rushing through him, a lot of his attacks really are pretty much all dodgeable. I just want to throw that out there.
Dodgeable. It seems like a lot of the shit they went for was, if you die, it's probably your fault. And that's always mechanics that you and I have always approved of. We've always been on the side of idiot killing mechanics, not undodgeable shit like
Veracitus's Nobuts. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And you're just gonna be okay with it. Alright? That's what's gonna happen here. But no, I mean, even though in our gameplay we're basically just sort of running at him and just eating all the damage, but that's because this was the 7th time we fought him. We knew how tough he was, and we could just take him out in a second wind if we really wanted to. Was not that big of a deal. He's not. Keep in mind though, this is on true Vault Hunter mode, not normal mode. So
we also were a bit higher than the Bosun. I don't think we were significantly higher above the Bosun like we were the rest of the area, but we were over leveled for the content.
I would say 2 to 3 levels over leveled for the Bosun.
Okay, yeah,
which is not too bad in true Vault Hunter mode. Honestly,
no,
it's not that bad.
Well, especially with the way the scaling works in the pre-sequel, 2 levels isn't as significant as 2 levels is in Borderlands 2. So.
Yeah, it's like it's not as bad as it was in Borderlands 2. Being a little bit under-leveled or over-leveled doesn't give you that big of a bonus, so it's both it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Over-leveling doesn't give you that big of a boost, but being under-leveled doesn't hurt you as bad as it does in Borderlands 2, which is a good thing. Now, going over the fight, I mentioned that most of the attacks are all dodgeable. You'll notice that in here we've got a couple psychos that end up spawning during the fight. So you've got an access to an easy second wind if you need one. And in addition, you'll notice these little pylons that are all linked to the Bosun. So what'll end up happening here is that if you attempt to hurt him and you don't take out these turrets, you can probably imagine that this is going to start regenerating his shield. And with all 4 of these turrets up, it is pretty significant regen, but the more you take out, it really drops off. And after you've taken out 2, you can pretty much ignore them entirely.
Well, we did have those snipers that ignored shields. We kind of tested those on them a little bit. So you can assume when you get there the first time through, and probably early on in TVHM, that it'll be your best strategy to take out the shield regeneration pylons first, which is something that's really missing from Borderlands 2 because all of the early bosses feel like hunks of meat. The same can be said for a lot of the later bosses and even most of the raid bosses too, which is something I'm really excited about for the pre-sequel because it feels like they might be bringing in good mechanics, not bullshit mechanics, making things beefy, but not making beefy the main focus of why they're difficult.
Yeah, that's one thing that was very apparent in Borderlands 2 was that bosses felt like bosses because they just had a shit ton of health. Their mechanics were, I mean, I wouldn't really call them mechanics so much as I'm going to take this much health from you and you're going to have to just deal with it type move. Kind of like pretty much every raid boss doesn't really have so much of a mechanic as it is, these are attacks that you're probably not able to dodge.
You need to deal with this shit. Can you steal life and also regen? That's basically the thing. Like, how different is Terramorphous from a Pyro Thresher?
He isn't.
There you
In
go.
fact, he sets himself on fire, and he's exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Except he just has a shit ton more health. And that's
He does
about
get
it.
lasers, bro. He does get lasers. Lasers change everything.
Lasers, man. He's
Yeah.
got them laser. Well, we'll have lasers in the pre-sequel, so it's fine.
Which, as you know, lasers crit harder. You can find that out in Admiral Baru's video. Welcome to the Sellout Hour.
No. But anyway, you know, we wanted to just quickly make this video for you guys going over how we feel that bosses in the pre-sequel are going to actually feel like a boss. They're not going to feel like an just like a normal enemy that was just pumped full of steroids and just like, all right, I'm a quote-unquote boss now.
Yeah. Life bar does not equal boss to me.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, I like having the life bar, but that's how all the bosses in Borderlands 2 felt, is that they were just a basic enemy with a really big health bar. And in the pre-sequel so far, this is only the first boss that we've gotten to get a little taste of, but it really does show that Gearbox is learning the attacks are dodgeable, and like those rockets that are hitting me throughout this gameplay, they go to set locations, and they do have a slight homing, but it's kind of like the tree ants homing from the Tiny Tina. They slightly home in, but if you're good at dodging them, you can juke around them, and you can pretty much almost exit the Bosun fight without taking too much damage if you do it right.
Yeah, if you do it right. If you know to take out the shield pylons, if you know where the ads spawn from, because the ads are something that you'll probably want to micromanage if you're not knowing exactly what you're doing, because they're not just second wind pinatas. They can hurt you too if you're not paying attention to it. But it's all part of an encounter. I think that is the terminology I prefer over a boss fight. This is a boss encounter. You know, it's not just a fight. It is, you go in, there's a specific thing you need to do to make the boss vulnerable, and then you kill him. If you don't have the gear to just pummel straight through it in brute force, which not everybody will, especially since it's so early in the game. And I'm really excited about what else we're gonna see going into the pre-sequel.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, let us know how you feel about this in the comments below. How do you feel about the Bosun fight? How do you feel about that? Basically, attacks are going to be more focused on, you know, actually dodging attacks rather than just, I'm going to hit you with this really big stick and you're going to have to heal it up. Again, get ready for the next big stick attack.
Fucking big stick attack.
Dude,
are we talking about the snowman now?
Yes, we're talking about the snowman now. I'm going to hit you with my really big stick.
So stupid.
You...
Also, rodeoing is a legitimate fight strategy. I don't care what anybody says. I'll rodeo all day.
But yeah, guys, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Keep it to both of our channels here for more pre-sequel news, guides, and everything related to the pre-sequel. Keep it here. And guys, we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get it.
Yeah. I'm leaving that in.